If you have ADHD and you struggle with making decisions, this one's for you. Every day, we make choices. What to eat, what to wear, decisions about work, about your relationships, and on and on and on. Now, some of those choices are pretty insignificant, like what glasses to wear or what to have for lunch. But one of the problems that ADHDers face is that we can see an infinite world of possibility in every choice, big or small. Because our brains are constantly analyzing for new information. So it's like, you can see a valid choice, but what if it's a wrong one? Like these glasses. This can result in something called choice paralysis, where you get so overwhelmed with having to choose that you can't choose at all. And the problem gets even worse when you compound it with the experience that many neurodivergent people have, where our needs and wants are invalidated by the people around us because they don't understand our neurodivergency, which can really make you second guess yourself. There's a lot of ways to deal with this, but the real truth is that learning to trust yourself takes time, and all of these glasses are from Zelo.
If you have ADHD, you know how hard it can be to make a decision sometimes, and so today I want to talk about why. When we make a decision, our brain absorbs information from the world around us. Do you see where I'm going with this? One of the things that tends to be really frustrating is that we are very good at split-second emergency decisions. Just see what's going on, we make a decision, and we go. But for all of the other decisions that we make, they're based on information gathering, and that's where our brains can get hung up. Because the longer we have to sit and think about something, the longer we have to gather that information, the more overwhelming it can become. It's not just stuff like what to wear, what to eat. It's big decisions like what car should I buy? What house should I buy? Should I take the job or not take the job? Those kind of choices require gathering a lot of information, and it can be really, really overwhelming. Choice fatigue is also very real. Basically, the more decisions that you have to make in a day, the more tired your brain becomes until by the end of the day, you've got nothing left. And that's not good because when your brain is tired, it can replace logical thinking with impulsivity. Like, I'm tired, I don't want to think about this, I'll just do this. Conversely, your brain can get so tired that it just says, I'm not going to make any more decisions today. And neither of those are particularly useful for living your best life. One of the best ways that you can stop decision paralysis from happening is simply by eliminating some of the information. The more possibilities you eliminate right away, the more you don't get bogged down later.
You're not going to like this one.
If you're on ADHD TikTok, you've probably seen videos about ADHD paralysis, which is the idea that you can get overwhelmed by everything that you have to do and render yourself unable to choose, or you have something really important later on in the afternoon so you can't get anything done during the morning. And both of those are pretty common experiences for people with ADHD. But today I want to talk about one that we don't talk about nearly as often, which is what I like to call ADHD marathoning. Because for some of us, ADHD paralysis is not an option. And that can be for a lot of reasons. Maybe you're a caretaker or have a high-pressure job, or you're just a burnt-out, gifted, and talented kid. But for you, it becomes trying to do it all. So then rather than surrender to that paralysis, you go the complete opposite direction, and you completely burn yourself out trying to get everything done. Because failure is not an option. You can't get overwhelmed. Or maybe you absolutely are. But either way, you would rather risk burning yourself out and doing way too much rather than feel like for even an instant, you're not doing enough.
Do you ever get completely overwhelmed by choice? One or two choices is probably fine, but then you get to 3 or 4 or 10 or 15 or 20 and all of a sudden you're frozen in place and you can't decide what to do? If you have ADHD, you might be very familiar with that feeling. And that feeling is called choice paralysis. For instance, this is all the stuff that is happening right now at DragonCon. How do you choose? There is an overwhelming amount of stuff to do and see and learn, and it can be really tough because not only am I dealing with choice paralysis, I'm also dealing with FOMO, which is how the youths say fear of missing out. Because I know that it's not going to be possible for me to see and do everything. But my ADHD all or nothing thinking says, but what if you could? And that can be super difficult to navigate. Now I know that eliminating choices can really help, as well as sticking to a specific structure, but it can still be hard. Remember this meme? Well, this is what it feels like. The excitement and thrill of starting, and then the immediate reality sets in. If you're the parent of a kid with ADHD, I have a pro tip for you. There is an extremely high likelihood that at some point in your kid's life, you've looked at your kid and said, go clean your room. And then you come back like an hour later, and your kid hasn't done anything. I used to be that kid. And the reason for that is that many kids with ADHD struggle with something called choice paralysis. Let's take a second and look at my hotel room. If you told me to clean up my hotel room, which frankly I probably should, there's a lot of stuff that I could do. I could pick up the laundry. I could clean up the desk. I could throw in my leftovers from dinner. There are a lot of different things that I could do, all under the very large umbrella of clean your room. And a lot of kids and adults with ADHD struggle with that. So if you're frustrated with your kid because they're not making any progress, something that can be really helpful is breaking it down into smaller tasks. I need you to bring all of the dirty dishes downstairs. I need you to put your dirty laundry into the hamper and go from there. Skills like this take practice, and patience is important.